Good morning, students, and welcome you all for today's session. Students, in our last lecture, we had started with the extract discussion of lesson number 2, that is Swiss Family Robinson. So, in our last session, we completed 3 extracts. Now, today, we are going to start with question number 6 and the remaining questions, that is the workshop and the language study. Now, before we start, I want each one of you to have your workbook, your textbook, pen and pencil, so that you can mark down, you can write the answers of the objective questions when we are discussing. So, students, let's get started. Students, I hope each one of you is having the workbook, textbook, pen and pencil with you. Come to page number 16 of your workbook, that is question number 6. Read the following passage and do the activities. So you have the workbook with you. So the passage starts from on the shore of another island and it ends, then the ship departed. Right, students? Okay. Now we will see the first activity, that is A1. It's there on your screen. 2. Fill in the blanks with words from the passage. So you have to find out the words from the passage. Again, I'm repeating here that if you have read the lesson, you will know in which para the answers are. So see the first one, students. Dash found a note. Now, if you are going to go to the second line of the passage, attacked him and found a rat tied to the large bird's leg. And who was that? Yes, the answer is there on the screen too. It's Fritz. Now, students, as I told you to take the pen with you, so you can there and there only write down these answers of the objectives and complete it. Coming to the second one, smoking rock seemed like a reference to a dash. Now, if you come to your fourth line of the passage, you have the answer there. That smoking rock sounded like a reference to a volcano. So the answer is volcano. The third one, the young woman who was rescued was. And who was that? Her name was Jenny Montrose. So that is also there on the screen. So this answer, you are going to get it on the second last line of your first paragraph. And the fourth one, dash, dash and dash were going to Europe. So that answer is Jenny, Fritz and Frank. They were going to Europe. So the 4 answers, I hope you have written it down and completed this first activity. Write down, students. Write down the answers so that your first activity is completed. Now, students, come to the next activity, that is A2, and it's a question. I'll read out the question. How did Fritz learn about another victim forsaken on a faraway island? Now, see, students, come to the first line of your passage. Right? On the shore of another island, Fritz had knocked down an albatross, which was threatening to attack him, and found a rag tied to a large bird's leg. On the rag was a message that an English woman had been stranded on the smoking rock. Now see, you don't have to write down the answer the same way as it is given in the passage. So, the answer that you are going to write for this question, I will read out the answer to you. the way you are going to write down this answer. Fritz had knocked down an albatross. He found a rat tied to the bird's leg. On the rat was a message that an English woman had been stranded on a smoking rock, which was probably a faraway island. I hope you understood how you have to write the answer. So this is the answer for the question, that is the A2 activity. Our next question is vocabulary, that is A3, activity A3. Now in this, the first question, give 2 examples of collocations from the passage. Collocations, that is 2 words often located together. You are going to find such words in the passage. You are going to find them and write down the answer. Now I'll give you the answer, the one example of each. Students, write it down. Now see, the first example of collocation is smoking rock. This you are going to find on the 3rd line in the first paragraph. The next example is smaller islands. So I am not going to give you only 2, I am giving you 4. So I am going to read out the next 2, write down the answer. You have to write any 2. So the next one is good health, academic education. So I gave you 4. Smoking rock, smaller islands, good health and academic education. Right? I hope you have completed the answer. Now see the second one, vocabulary, second question. Give antonyms for the following. That is the opposites. See the first word there, depart. What will be the opposite of it? Yes, many of them must have got this answer. The answer is arrive. A-R-R-I-V-E. Okay. The second one is despair. And the answer for it, the opposite of despair, is hope. H-O-P-E. Yes, students? Okay. Now, we will move on to the next activity, and that is A4, do as directed. The first one, Franz, the youngest boy, decided to join Fritz in leaving. In the bracket, what you have to do, pick out the non-finite verbs and their kinds. You have to state its kind. Now, students, non-finite verbs are verbs that cannot have tense but they do not carry a subject. Yes, and we have to state its kind. Now, to plus verb. Yes, the answer is, what is the verb here in the sentence? Join. So the infinitive, non-finite verb, that is the answer. To join. You have to put a dash and write, that is infinitive. Okay, students here? So, when you are writing this answer, so you have to write the sentence, and on the next line, you are going to write to join, and that is the infinitive. Now, infinitive I am telling you all, so that is what here they have asked you to state its kind. So, we are writing infinitive. So, answer will be to join dash infinitive. Clear, students? Going on to the second one. Fritz felt that someone needed his help. Identify the subordinate clause and state its type. Now, first of all, subordinating clause will always start with a subordinator and contain only one finite verb. So, the subordinator in this sentence is that. So, that someone needed his help is going to be subordinating clause. Now, we have to find out, that is, they have asked us, state its type. Now, if you are going to ask a question, Fritz felt what? You are going to get the answer? Yes. So, this is subordinate noun clause, right? So, it is a noun clause. So, the answer is identify the subordinate clause and state its type. So, you are going to write the answer that someone needed his help, and the answer is noun clause. Yes, got it right? Now we'll move on to the next activity, that is A5. In the novel, Jack and Ernest chose to stay back on the island. Why do you think they made this choice? Now, students, it is a personal response type of question where you have to answer that why did they make this choice of staying back and not going with the others. So it's a personal response type of question. See, I will give you 2 to 3 points here. If you want to write the points of your own, you can do so. Now, according to me, that is the first point, why they chose to remain back. Because they were very young when they were marooned on the island. And now they had grown up. So, they were used to that island. That will be the first point. Then second, so students, when you stay somewhere for a long period of time, you get connected to that lifestyle and develop a kind of attachment for that place. Maybe that was the reason why they did not wanted to go back and made a choice of remaining on the island. And the third one, children probably did not want to leave their parents because already their brothers, they were going to Europe. So they wanted to remain back with the parents because they will be alone and they will need support. And for that, the both of them must have taken this decision, that is Jack and Ernest, to remain back with the parents. So this is the way you can write your personal response, that why they felt of not going with the others and remaining back on the island. Now students, we will move on to English workshop and start with question number 7. Answer the following questions. Now in this, see the first question. They have asked, in what way is a work of fiction different from a fact file? And I have provided this answer which is there on the screen. That is, a work of fiction is a piece of creative imagination, right? We are imagining the things and making a story out of it. So that is a work of fiction. It is generally open to interpretation. We interpret the things in that. Whereas a fact file is completely based on reality, the real facts. In a fact file, characters who are actual people are described as they are factually accurate. So, this is the difference that is between the work of fiction and a fact file. So, this is the answer that you have to write for this question. I'll give you some time where you can copy it down. Otherwise, you can pause the video and write down the answer for this question. Now students, we will move to question number 2 on page number 18 of your workbook. Now this, you are going to get the answers in the lesson and not in the extract or the passage. The whole lesson. These are the questions related to the whole lesson. So I will give you the textbook page number. Otherwise, you are having the workbooks. If you can find out that extract, so I will mark and give you, and then you have to write this answer on your own. I will read out the answer for you, and I want you to write this answer in this way. Now the question is, how did the family reach the tropical island? This answer, students, you are going to find on page number 6 of your textbook. Paragraph that starts from William, Elizabeth and their children on the 8th line. Page number 6. I hope you have got this. Okay. I will read out the answer for you, and you have to write this answer for this question in this manner. The family had been shipwrecked and they found themselves within sight of a tropical island. The next morning, they decided to get to the island. They could see beyond the reef. With much effort, they first made provisions for their survival on the island. Over the next few days, William, that is father, attached a floatable old cake to one another and built a boat that carried them around. Thus, family landed successfully on island. So, this is the answer for this question. I hope you have understood how to write down the answer. Now, moving on to the next question, that is question number 3. And what is the question? I will read out the question for you. How did the mother occupy herself while the tree house was being built? The family members were busy in building the tree house. So how did the mother occupy herself at that time? So now this again, students, you are going to get the answer on page number 7. Page number 7 of your textbook. The last paragraph. So the paragraph starts from Meanwhile Elizabeth. So you are going to get the answer for this question in this paragraph. The answer is, while the tree house was being built, mother kept herself occupied by tending the garden that was now producing healthy plants. Once again, I will read the answer for you, students. While the tree house was being built, mother kept herself occupied by tending the garden that was now producing healthy plants. So this is the answer for this question. Now we'll move on to our next question, that is question number 4. Question number 4 is, what was the third place the family decided to reside in? Why did they wish to shift there? Now take page number 8 of your textbook. Page number 8, second paragraph. The paragraph starts from thinking ahead of next winter. Right? So you are going to get the answer for this question in this paragraph. Okay? So come to that line. The third place the family decided to reside in was a cave. As winter was ahead, they wanted to create a place that would protect them from the elements, a strong storage spot to protect themselves and their belongings. So, this is the answer. Why they decided to reside in, and what was the third place, and why did they wish to shift there. So, the reason also is given. So, you are going to write your answer in this way. I hope the answer is clear. You have got the paragraph on page number 8. Mark down and form your answer and write down your answer. Now, we will move on to the fifth question, and the fifth question is, how does the adventure come to an happy end? Right? We always want an adventure to have a happy end, and in this story also there was an happy end. So let's see how was the end of a Swiss Family Robinson. That is the end of the story. Now you have to come to the last paragraph of this lesson where you are going to find out the answer. Now, the adventure comes to an happy end as Fritz, Franz, and Jenny go back to Europe because her father had come searching her and they decided to go to Europe with the ship and its crew. The other family members, that was William, Elizabeth, Jack, and Ernest, decided to continue to live on the island. While leaving, Fritz expresses his wish to marry Janie too. So, this was the happy end of this story. The answer you are going to find in the last paragraph, that is, the three of them, they decide to go to Europe, that was Fritz, Franz, and Jenny. The others decided to remain on the island because they had spent many years there, and the children also wished to remain with their parents. So, this is the and Fritz expresses his wish to marry Jenny. So, this is the answer for that. Now, we'll move on to our next question, children. That is question number 6. Now, it's like an one-line answer. So, I will read out the answer. See that if it is possible, you can write down the answer while I am reading the answer for you for the next two questions. Who was the victim and how long had she survived? Now, who was this victim? Yes, you must have guessed the answer. The victim was a young English woman, Jenny Montrose, and she had survived for 3 years. And that was where? On the ship, from when she came on the ship and started living there. So once again, I will read the answer for you, students. The victim was a young English woman, Jenny Montrose, and she had survived for 3 years. Now moving on to the next question. Who is included in the word everyone in everyone was amazed? Right? So you have to write the answer. Who is included in the word everyone? Now everyone was amazed, that was the sentence. Now everyone, this is the answer I am giving you. Everyone, that word will be as it is given in the question into inverted commas. In everyone was amazed, that also in the inverted commas refers to the passengers and the crew of the English ship. Passengers and the crew, CREW, of the English ship. So this is the answer for these two questions. So, I suppose you have got the answers and many must have written the answers while I am discussing the answers. Okay, we'll move on to question number 8 now. Now, see question number 8 from English workshop, and this is the last question of question number 7 and the 8th one. And what is this question? Write in your own words how the Robinson family made each of their homes. Now students, I want you to write this question on your own. So, they have asked you, made each house. Now how many homes they made? That is 4. So you are going to write your answer. Each home you are going to describe or write 3 to 4 lines about it. Now see, the first home that they made was a tent. Then the second home, that was tree house. The third home, it was a cave. And the fourth, they decided to build a stronger house using 4 strong trees as base. So now each house you have to describe it into 3 to 4 lines. Read the lesson, you are going to get it, and don't write very big answers or the first home, second home. 3 to 4 lines for each you are going to describe about the house. even in the passage which we did. So they have asked us about it, that how did they build this house. So the answers are there. So you are going to complete your question by writing the 4 homes that they changed and how they build the 4 homes. Is it clear, students? Okay. Now we will move on to our next question. Question number 8 is, the following words can be used as nouns as well as verbs. Make sentences of your own using them as a noun in one and a verb in another. So this you can get it for 2 marks, right? So the word will be given. This word you have to first use in the noun form and then in the verb form. This was already explained, so this will be a kind of an revision for you all, right? Now the first word is value. So now how are you going to use that in the noun form? Children, now just don't copy it from some book, but try to find out and make your own sentences, right? So that word should be in the sentence. Now see the first one. I have tried to give you the sentences, right? Now see the sentences here. So when I'm reading, if you want to write it, otherwise it will be very much better if you are going to form your own sentences. Try to find out the own sentences and write it down. Now see the first one here, that is value. Now in the noun form, he has old-fashioned values. Now always the noun answers the question what. He has what? Old-fashioned values. Okay. Now then we are going to the verb sentence of that same word, that is value. Now verb is doing word or an action word. So the sentence for this is, I value these old photographs. Now we'll move on to the next one, that is not. So I'll give these 2 sentences for you. His stomach was in knots, and that is the noun form, and the verb form is not the shoelaces. Then the third one is travel. So now in the noun form, she is studying travel and tourism at college, and the verb sentence is, his job requires him to travel frequently. Then we'll move on to the fourth one, noun form or the noun sentence. They offered up a prayer of thanks for her safe return. And the verb sentence, he refused to return our money. Right? So the root word that is given, that should be in the sentence, and you are going to form the sentence in the noun form and the verb form. And for that, it should know what is a noun and what is a verb. Right? Then you can use it in the noun and the verb form. So I am not going to give you the remaining here. We are not going to discuss because I want that to be done by you on your own. See students, once again, just don't copy down these answers from any book, but try to find out and make sentences of your own in the noun and the verb form. So we'll move on to question number 9 now. See now, question number 9. What is a compound word? 2 separate words combined together to make a new word with a different meaning. So that is an compound word. So they form compound words. Now they have said, use a dictionary, find the meaning of the following compound words. Now before we come to the first one, let's take one example. So now if I give you the example, that is class. This is one word, and room, it is another word. So if you are going to combine this together, it makes a compound word, that is classroom, right? So they form the compound word. Now, another example if I'm going to give you, that is sunset. So, one word is sun, the other word is set. So, when you're going to join this together, it becomes a compound word giving us a new meaning, right? Now, we'll go on to the first one, and the first one is armload. Again, this was discussed, students, and this will be as a kind of revision for you. Now, what is the meaning of this? See, the two words arm and loads. So, the meaning that you have to write in the space that is provided is a load that can be carried on one's arm. A load that can be carried on one's arm. So, you have to give the meaning of it, right? See the second one, drift wood. So, drift and wood. So, these are the two words. So, what will be the meaning of that? A wood that has to be washed onto the shore by the action of the sea waves and winds, right? So, the sea waves. So, in the direction where the waves are going to move, they are going to keep that log of wood, so it will be drifted towards the shore, right? So, that is the meaning of it. Then, the third one, the third word is compound word cross current, and the meaning you are going to write of that is movement of air or water moving in opposite direction. Okay, so that is the meaning you are going to write. And the fourth one, that is footprints, foot and prints. So that is, what is the meaning of that? The impression left by a foot. Okay, so in this way you have to give the meaning of the compound words. So there are 6. I have given you the answers. We have discussed the answers of 4, and the remaining 2 you are going to do it on your own. So students, here we have completed with the discussion of the extract and the passive answer question and answers of lesson number 2, A Swiss Family Robinson. Now what you have to do, students, here? Yes, you have to complete the workbook. See that you complete the workbook. As I have told you, you can pause the video and you can write down the answers. Many of them must have written the answers while we were discussing. So here we have completed with this lesson. So that is all for today, students. Thank you.